My name is Sarah Harris, and I'm 48 years old. 3 months ago, I buried my mother. Last week, I learned I was being evicted from my family home. Not by a bank, not by a stranger, but by my own brother, David. For the last 6 years, I was my mother's full-time caregiver. I was the one who quit my job, the one who moved back in, the one who bathed her, fed her, and held her hand while dementia stole her, piece by piece. While I was doing that, David, the golden child who lived 2,000 miles away in a Seattle waterfront condo, was using a secret power of attorney to systematically drain her retirement accounts, sell off her stocks, and finally mortgage the paid-off family home right out from under us. By the time Mom died, he had taken everything, every penny, every asset, every memory he could liquidate. He left me with a foreclosure notice, her final medical bills, and a box of old photos. And the whole family, all the aunts and uncles, they expected me to just understand. Because David always had more expenses than I did. Because he was the successful one. Let me tell you how he did it. And let me tell you how I'm going to make him pay for every last cent. David is 5 years older, a successful investment banker. In our family, success was a word that meant money, and David was the only one who had it. I'm the responsible one, the local elementary school teacher who never left our hometown. Our dad died 10 years ago, a quick, clean heart attack that left us reeling, but left Mom financially secure. He was a smart man, an engineer, and he left her with this house paid in full and a retirement portfolio that was meant to last her the rest of her life. David, of course, inherited Dad's head for figures, while I inherited Mom's caring heart. That's how they always framed it. He got the ambition, I got the obligation. For the first few years after Dad's death, Mom was fine. She was lonely, but she was active. Then the little things started. The keys in the freezer, the lost wallet I'd find in the sugar bowl. The same story 3 times in one phone call. Then it wasn't little. It was the night she got lost driving home from the grocery store she'd been to 1,000 times. A police officer found her at 3 a.m., parked on the side of a highway, confused and crying. That was the night my old life ended and this new one began. I was a 3rd-grade teacher. I loved my job. I had a small, sunny apartment, a circle of friends, a life I had built for myself. When I called David hysterical, he was in the middle of a huge merger. "It's just not a good time, Sarah," he said, his voice slick with practiced sympathy. "Why don't you look into some facilities? The good ones are expensive, but we could sell the house to pay for it." Sell the house. That was always his first move. The house Mom said she wanted to die in. The one Dad built the porch on. I refused. We had a family meeting over the phone. "I can't just uproot my kids, Sarah," David said. "My job is demanding. You're right there. It just makes sense for you to handle the day-to-day. I'll take care of the financial side. I'll make sure you and Mom are taken care of. I'll contribute." So I did it. I told my principal I was taking a leave of absence, packed up my apartment, put my life in storage, and moved back into my childhood bedroom. That leave of absence became a resignation. My circle of friends became a weekly text message I'd forget to answer. My life became a suffocating routine of pills, doctors, and a slow, agonizing goodbye. For 6 years. David, of course, was the perfect son from a distance. He contributed a check the first month, $500, which didn't even cover the co-pays. Then the contributions stopped. But his calls were like clockwork, every Sunday at 4 p.m. A cheerful, booming 10-minute call where he'd talk about his promotions, his new Tesla, his kids' sailing trophies. He'd ask, "How's Mom?" And before I could answer, "Great, great," he'd launch into another monologue. Mom, in her moments of lucidity, would sit by the phone and just beam. "That's my David," she'd say to me after he hung up. "Always so successful. He's in Seattle, you know?" "I know, Mom. He's very important." I'd just nod and change her bedsheets. The holidays were the worst. I remember one Thanksgiving, about 3 years in. Mom was having a bad day. She was agitated, paranoid, and had thrown her plate on the floor. I was on my hands and knees cleaning up turkey and gravy, crying from pure exhaustion, when the phone rang. It was David. "Put Mom on speaker," he boomed. I did. He was at a huge, noisy party Just wanted to wish my two favorite girls a happy Thanksgiving, he shouted. Mom's eyes lit up. David? Oh, David. He let his kids yell, "Hi, Grandma," and then said, "Gotta run, sis. Love you. You're a saint." The call lasted 45 seconds. My aunt, who had come over for an hour, clasped her hands. Isn't that sweet? He always remembers to call. I just went back to scrubbing the floor. He visited once a year, twice if we were lucky. His last visit was about 18 months ago. He walked in not with a suitcase, but with a briefcase. All expensive cologne and a tailored suit. He gave me that sympathetic pat on the shoulder, his eyes scanning the living room like he was assessing a property. "Sarah, you look exhausted," he said, not unkindly. "You're a saint for doing this. A goddamn saint. But you're letting yourself go." He took us out to a fancy dinner I couldn't enjoy because I had to cut up Mom's food and she kept asking the waiter where her husband was. The next morning, he sat me down at the kitchen table. "I've been thinking. You're drowning in paperwork. Bills, insurance, all of it. I'm a professional at this. Let me lighten your load." He said he wanted to handle the finances, get her bills on auto pay, maximize her assets, make her money work for her. He said it was the least he could do. That afternoon, he did something brilliant and evil. He handed me a gift certificate. "I booked you a spa day," he said, smiling. "Massage, facial, the works. You need a break, sis. I won't take no for an answer. My treat." I almost cried with gratitude. I hadn't been touched by anyone except my mother, who would grip my arm in fear for years. I was so desperate for a break, I didn't question it. "The car is coming at noon," he said. "I'll watch Mom. We'll just hang out." I went. For 4 hours, I was a normal person. I let strangers rub my back and paint my toenails. I felt human. When the car dropped me off, I walked in glowing. David was at the kitchen table, papers neatly stacked. "How was it?" he beamed. "Amazing," I said. "Thank you, David. I needed that." "Good," he said, tapping the stack. "While you were gone, I had a mobile notary come by. It was just easier. We got all of Mom's accounts streamlined. I can pay her bills from Seattle now, so you don't have to worry about a thing." He smiled that golden child smile. "It's all set." I didn't worry. I went back to the grind. But here's the thing about being a full-time caregiver for someone with Alzheimer's. You document everything. You have to. The doctors tell you to. Track her symptoms, they say. Track her good days, her bad days, her medication reactions. So I did. I had 3 5-inch binders, one for each 2-year period. I had daily logs. March 10th, 2 p.m., confused, didn't recognize me. 6 p.m., refused dinner. 8 p.m., very agitated, accused me of stealing her purse. I wrote down every appointment, every prescription, every new symptom, every conversation. It was my Bible. It was my proof that I was doing everything I could. And I took videos, not for a lawsuit, but for me. I filmed her when she was lucid, when she'd have a flash of the real mom telling a story about her childhood. And I filmed her on the bad days, when I'd have to send a video to my aunt, Mom's sister, the one from Thanksgiving, to make her understand why I couldn't just leave her with a sitter and come out for a drink. I was documenting my life, my grief, my prison. I had no idea I was building a case. Mom passed away 3 months ago. It was quiet, in her sleep. David flew in for the funeral, of course. He stood at the pulpit in a $1,000 suit and gave a beautiful, gut-wrenching eulogy about Mom's vibrant spirit and sharp wit, things dementia had stolen from her years ago.
He was crying for an audience, describing a woman he hadn't really known for a decade. The family sobbed. "What a wonderful son," my aunt whispered to me. I just felt numb. He flew out 2 days later, citing a shareholder meeting. I was left alone in the quiet, empty house, surrounded by 6 years of medical equipment and suffocating grief. I was just starting to breathe, just starting to think about what came next. Maybe I could go back to teaching. Maybe I could sell the house now, like I wanted, and get a small condo. I was just starting to see a future. Then, last week, the first letter came. A thick, ominous envelope with a bright red border. Notice of foreclosure. I laughed. It was junk mail. A scam. This house was paid off in 1998. Then a second one came. Final notice. I called the bank. The man on the phone was cold, impersonal. Ma'am, a reverse mortgage was taken out on the property 16 months ago. The loan was for the maximum assessed value. The owner has passed, and the full balance of $450,000 is now due. I felt the floor drop. My voice was a whisper. A reverse mortgage? Who signed for it? According to our records, ma'am, he said, a Mr. David Harris acting as power of attorney. I didn't hang up. I just dropped the phone. Power of attorney. The day he sent me to the spa, the day he streamlined the accounts, I ran into the home office and tore through the files. And there it was. Tucked in the back of the household folder, a copy of a durable power of attorney signed by my mother, giving David full, sweeping control over all her assets. The date? March 12th, 18 months ago, the day I got a pedicure. I called him immediately. He answered on the second ring, cheerful as ever, the sound of street traffic behind him. Sarah, how's it going? Just heading to lunch. I was shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. You put a mortgage on Mom's house. The line went dead quiet. The cheerful golden child was gone. His voice changed, got cold, hard. It was a strategic financial decision, Sarah. Mom had assets trapped in that house, and I liberated them. You stole from her, I whispered. I managed her portfolio, he snapped, his voice sharp. I was her POA. It was all perfectly legal. You wouldn't understand the complexities. And that money? It's gone. Bad investments. The market's a bear, you know. He didn't even sound sorry. He sounded annoyed he'd been caught. What about me? I finally asked, the words choking me. I live here. Where am I supposed to go? There was a long, exasperated sigh. I don't know, Sarah. Get an apartment. You're a single woman. You don't need a big old house. Honestly, you should be thanking me. That house is a money pit, and it's full of sad memories. I'm helping you move on. He hung up. Helping me move on. That's when the grief turned into something else. Something hot and sharp and perfectly clear. Rage. He thought I was just the stupid, tired caregiver. He thought I was the responsible one who would just roll over. He forgot what being a caregiver means. It means you're organized. It means you're relentless. It means you document everything. I didn't just go to a lawyer. I went to the best elder law specialist in the state. I walked in with a duffel bag. The lawyer, Miss Alvarez, was professional, kind, but her eyes were skeptical. Miss Harris, these cases are very difficult to prove. A valid POA is a powerful document. Undue influence is a high bar. I understand, I said. I unzipped the bag and began to stack the binders on her desk. Here are my daily caregiver logs for the last 6 years. I pulled out my laptop. My brother, the POA, claims he was managing my mother's finances. He says it was all legal. He signed the reverse mortgage on March 12th, 18 months ago, the day he sent me to a spa. Miss Alvarez nodded. Do you have proof he wasn't acting in her best interest, or that she was incompetent when she signed the POA? He's smarter than that, I said. He had her sign the POA before she was declared incompetent. He probably thought that covered him. I see. So he had her sign it, and then Oh no, I interrupted. He had her sign it on March 12th, and then he used it. But he made one mistake. He's an investment banker, not a caregiver. He doesn't know what I know. I opened my logs folder. I clicked on the file for March of that year. Here is my entry for March 10th, 2 days before he got the POA. 9 a.m., neurology appointment, Dr. Alistair. David insisted on coming. I opened my videos folder. I clicked on a file. I took this video at 9:15 a.m. on March 10th in the car on our way to that appointment. I was sending it to my aunt to show her how bad Mom was getting. I turned the laptop around. It was Mom, in the back seat, holding a baby doll. She was singing a nursery rhyme. In the video, I hear my own voice. "Hey, Mom, we're going to the doctor. Remember?" She looks at me, her eyes sweet and vacant. "Who are you, dear? You're so nice." I stopped the video. That was 9:15 a.m. on March 10th. At 10 a.m. on March 10th, David and I sat in Dr. Alistair's office and listened as the neurologist, after a 2-hour assessment, officially declared our mother mentally incompetent and unable to make her own medical or financial decisions. David argued with him.
He tried to get him to change the report. I slid a final, folded document across the desk. This is the signed official assessment from Dr. Alistair, dated March 10th, 10 a.m. My brother heard with his own ears that she was incompetent. And then, I said, my voice shaking with rage, he spent the next day organizing, and on March 12th he got a notary and had our mother, a woman he knew was legally incompetent, sign a POA. Then he sent me to the spa and went to the bank. Miss Alvarez was silent for a full minute. She just stared at the screen. Then she looked at me, and all the skepticism was gone. She looked hungry. "Oh, Sarah," she said, pulling a legal pad toward her. "David is in so much trouble. This isn't just undue influence. This is fraud. This is criminal. We filed for elder financial abuse, fraud, and theft. We didn't just contest the mortgage. We went after everything. David's expensive Seattle lawyers tried to bluff. They sent back a threatening letter painting me as a disgruntled, jealous sibling who was trying to extort their grieving client. They even filed a countersuit accusing me of unduly influencing Mom against David. Then the family calls started. My aunt, the one from Thanksgiving, the one I sent the videos to, called me, sobbing. "Sarah, I just got off the phone with David. He said you're suing him. He said you're accusing him of stealing. Sarah, he's heartbroken. He told me he was just trying to manage the estate, that he paid for all of Mom's care." "He what?" I said, my blood running cold. "He said he sent you thousands of dollars a month, and you must have spent it on yourself. He said you're just bitter you weren't in the will. Why are you doing this, Sarah? Why are you tearing this family apart?" He'd poisoned the well. He told them he was the one paying for everything. I hung up and called Miss Alvarez. "We need to subpoena his bank records," I said. "All of them." The battle dragged on. His lawyers tried to bury us in paperwork. They scheduled my deposition. It was brutal. David's lawyer, a shark in a $5,000 suit, tried to paint me as a gold digger. "Isn't it true, Miss Harris, that you haven't held a job in 6 years? You were financially dependent on your mother, weren't you? You must have been desperate when she died and you found out the money was gone." I just looked at him, calm. I wasn't an employee. I was a daughter, and I have 6 years of logs that document every penny I spent on my mother's care. Now, can we look at your client's records? The judge ordered a mediation. David flew in, looking tanned and annoyed. We sat in a sterile conference room. His lawyer made an offer. To avoid any more family unpleasantness, Mr. Harris is prepared to offer you $20,000 to walk away. David looked at me, smug. "Take it, Sarah. It's more than you've earned in years. Go get that condo." I looked at him. I looked at Miss Alvarez. Then I looked back at David. "See you in court," I said. That's when we sent them the bank records. His bank records. The ones that showed no payments to me, no thousands a month for Mom's care.
But it did show the wire transfer from Mom's retirement account to a boat dealership, the transfer from her stock portfolio to an LLC in Aspen, the bad investments, a new 40-foot sailbogs, an all-cash down payment for a condo in Aspen, 2 years of his kids' 5-figure private school tuition. He'd stolen over $800,000. His lawyers called back an hour after they received the file. The countersuit was dropped. They wanted to make a deal. Here's the deal I offered. David could face criminal charges, prison time, a report to the SEC, and the end of his precious career, or he could sign over the Aspen condo and the sailboat to the estate, pay back the $800,000 in full from his personal accounts, and sign a legal document relinquishing any and all claim to the family, the house, and me forever. If he refused, I was walking the evidence straight to the district attorney. He's selling the condo right now. The foreclosure notice is gone. The house is in my name, free and clear, just like it was always supposed to be. My name is Sarah Harris. My brother thought my life was small. He thought being a caregiver made me weak, stupid, and tired. He was right about tired. He forgot that the person who is forced to pay attention to every detail is the person who holds all the power. He'll get to keep being successful 2,000 miles away, but he'll do it broke, and he'll do it knowing his stupid little sister took him down.